If anybody can't hear me, just shout out and I'll use the microphone, whatever that is, it's in there. My name's David McDowall, I'm the Operations Manager at East Ayrshire Council. I cover building standards, development management, e-planning, all the stuff that is given us all a challenge. So just to kind of give you an overview of what type of work we're involved in. We have currently in our books 22 wind farms, 4 operational, 3 under construction, 1 approved pending discharge conditions, of which we're sitting with the reporter just now with those, and having meetings between our QC and their case QC to resolve this matter. We've got 9 pending wind farms and 5 at PLI, so there's a lot going on in the wind farm side. We've also got 10 open cast complexes. Part of what we're going to talk to you today about is just the car crash that came in April 2013. We've got 2 operational open cast sites, that being House of Water, is run by Hargreaves, and Kier Mining run the mine in Greenburn, and I'll talk about that a little later. We've got 4 restoration contracts going on now. Those are 4 that have been basically carried out in the last 3 years, and of which we are project managing as a planning authority. And we've got 4 that are further in the redesign stage, so those alternative schemes will come forward through the planning process. We've got 7 quarries, rock and sand, 3 operational, 1 under restoration and 3 consented. And those 3 consented are about to come to fruition once obviously the planning conditions are discharged. We've got 3 landfill sites, 1 operational, 1 under construction, and we've got the South West Interconnector. South West Interconnector is the pilings that run from the Coulton substation right down to Furnage, South Ayrshire Council, and Fleece and Galloway councils where the wind farm projects are proposed. We've got 4 applications for solar farms coming and the general development for Loudon Castle. The Loudon Castle development is it tends to rise depending on the newspapers you read. It goes from a £300 million development to a £500 million development, but suffice to say it's a proposal on the old theme park that was there to provide a similar proposal to what you have in centre parks. There's a castle on the side. The castle's grade A listed. It was a ruin subject to fire in the early 1940s, and from there the developers wanted to have an enabling development to facilitate the redevelopment of the castle, and they just wanted to build 1,025 houses in the countryside. So there's a lot of significant issues there, obviously significant contribute to the local development plan. So there's a few challenges in that. Just to give you a kind of heads up, that's East Ayrshire, that line round about it. All those different colours are all about our various environmental projects. It's quite congested as you'll see there. Up at the top, very top in the brown, we have Whiteley Wind Farm. We share with South Lanarkshire and East Rain, and we work together to deal with the bonding arrangements for that site. And round the periphery, we have wind farms right round the boundary, and if colleagues in Fleece and Galloway, South Ayrshire, South Lanarkshire are putting their maps up, they'll say it's quite a congested plan as well. So there's a lot of wind in Ayrshire, and the bit in the centre, this area here, is your area where that's the coal field. The coal field is made up of, as I said before, 10 complexes. The red areas show the areas which are still to be restored. Brown areas, there's restoration carried out, and you'll see there's quite a challenge in turning all those from red to green. I'll just talk you through that in a moment. Our catalyst for change. Falkirk, we're obviously changing because the unconventional oil and gas application. We had the collapse of 2 out of the 3 mining operators within the area. The coal field, as you saw in that map, is 10 complexes. These complexes are large in size. When April 2013 came along with 311 job losses in Scottish Coal, colleagues in other authorities, Clackmannanshire, Fife, South Lanarkshire, North Lanarkshire, etc., all would have similar impacts and job losses. What we did have was, we had also a company called ATH Resources. ATH again worked in those various authorities, but the liquidator KPMG decided in their great wisdom, because the company was an English company, under the English Insolvency Act, section 189, they could put a nice red line fence round about all the the red, the areas which were a risk area and effectively abandoned areas of land. Now in Scotland, some of these will be aware that the East Ayrshire, South Lanarkshire SEPA took a court action right through, and we won a court action to make sure Scottish Coal couldn't disclaim land. Otherwise, you would have the polluter who wouldn't be paying. The proposal there from Scottish Coal's situation was that Liquidator was trying to make sure that as a polluter, you could basically disregard all your liabilities. So we won that case. The situation with the ATH and KPMG in England and Wales, for us to win that case, we would have to fight our case in England. And we looked at the cost analysis for that, and it was going to be too expensive. So we've got 3 areas of land, of which are no man's land. In fact, some of them are water, so we'll just see in a moment. But we have to take forward a proposal how to deal with those risks. You'll see there that of the 9 abandoned coal complexes, that equates to 1,465 hectares of disturbed and unrestored land. 22 voids. These voids aren't small voids. These voids are the size of several football parks. And it comes out at 524 hectares of unrestored voids. What we did initially was that, unfortunately, our predecessors, the big failing in the planning system at that stage was that a lot of the planning consents, the open cast subject plan had won an award in 2003 for East Ayrshire, and it was still fit for purpose. What wasn't fit for purpose was that we issued planning conditions and planning obligations, we never adhered to them. So for instance, in the planning obligation it would say you were required to pay for an independent mining specialist to review the financial viability of that site. East Ayrshire, colleagues at East Ayrshire hadn't taken that forward, so we ended up in a really big mess. 3 of the 9 abandoned sites had coal in them, so we managed to get those coal operations to continue and look towards keeping the restoration going on. We had an independent review of regulation of open cast coal in East Ayrshire. A lot of the issues that were identified in that report, of which we had already identified before Jim McKinnon had started his review, but when the review came in, we'd already put actions in place to deliver what we currently now know as our best practice. So we are implementing best practice. We don't just implement it in the coal sites, we do it quarries, landfill, renewables and interconnector. So anything where there's a major environmental project, we use it. See at the bottom there, we use specialist consultants to support service delivery. The planners in the room will understand that when you get a detailed planning condition that says specifics about environmental issues, you may not have the competency to actually assess that. You would, in a lot of cases, send that over to colleagues in SNH, SEPA, etc., and they will come back with just a standard consultation to say whether they accept that or not. In a coal mine, for instance, we have, as a planning authority, have to make sure that these conditions are adhered to, and obviously they weren't previously. So what can happen if you don't compliance monitor major projects, conditions and obligations? Well, that's a very large hole. What you don't see is, that's just outside Curnup, a village called Scares on the left-hand side. Scares is a small population, but it's about 150 metres away. Now, some of you in the room will say, well, how did the planning permission granted for a village so close to that working area? That's a very good question, but the people in that village were all paid to basically keep them stewing. We've looked at that. There's 3 million cubic metres of material has to go in that void. That void has to be partially drained and then backfilled. That's a project where, because it's so close to the community, we as a council will put our hands in our pockets and help to restore that, and in conjunction with restoration bond money. So we're topping up the money that's there for the bonds for that site. What will happen is, that'll be partially drained, there's a huge overburden here, it'll be ferried into that void, and effectively that site will be restored at the end of the project. However, that is disclaimed land. That means that if the council is under the Environmental Protection Act, don't step in, nobody's going to deal with that. That level of water is actually higher in the village. So there's a major issue with that. It goes without saying, we've done the review of how to drain that and fill that out. The planning conditions for noise probably couldn't be adhered to under the original planning condition. One thing I will say is, it's important when you're doing a major development that to make sure the planning conditions can be achieved. There's no sense putting a planning condition on there and then not, you know, when it comes to fruition, it can't be achieved. Had the planning condition been reviewed by a specialist, by the council at the time of the planning application, we would have probably refused that as a council. But it was granted consent. That's a nice hole. The bit at the top here, that's a part of the SPA. That's a triple SI, of which the area is part of a formal complaint to the European Union. Don't need to ask me if that still applies after last week. But as far as we're concerned, it needs to be resolved. We've worked with the Scottish Government, and between that site and that site, and the boundary of the SPA runs right through the middle of it. Now, I can't emphasise it enough. If you don't monitor your planning obligations and planning conditions, and you let developers run riot, that's what happens. To drain that void and fill that in is £50 million. 50, right? You can understand now why developers don't want to comply with planning conditions. So they get away with what they wanted to get away with on site, and ineffectively we are left now clearing up the environmental disaster. Spireslack is that picture's taken from the boundary between East Ayrshire and South Lanarkshire, and just right behind that, where that picture was taken, there's a wind farm, of which we work with our colleagues in South Lanarkshire to compliance monitor. That is Ayrshire's Grand Canyon. That's getting turned into a geopark, and the fact of the matter is, we've what they call a McDowall sill here. This high wall that runs right round there is about just under a mile long, just to give you an idea. And here's another fact. That has been sitting there in progress since 1996. Planning have allowed, as a planning authority, Major Council have allowed other applications in that site without making sure that hole was filled in. So another thing, and I keep mentioning is, we highlighted this part of independent review. It's in there as an action. Ensure that when you're looking at any kind of environmental consents, fill in the hole in the first place before they go and start digging another hole. So implementing best practice. We took a decision, much has been made today about working together, communication teams. Fully agree with that and fully support it. What happened was, my background, I'm a chartered building surveyor, and background I've worked 30 odd years in building standards. And then for the last 3 years I've been working in development management. And you know, what I have to say about that is that dealing with compliance monitoring on site with major projects is no different to dealing with buildings. You go through a similar process, but you make sure the end product is actually fit for purpose. There's no sense in having wonderful thoughts about how we're going to take a development and end up doing all risk mitigation in place and never managing that mitigation. Because if you don't manage it, developers will go and do what they like. And that's even with compliance monitoring. South Lanarkshire and ourselves are dealing with one developer, two developers in fact, jointly, and there have been major problems with those developers. Just recently one of the wind farms was stopped, not by the council but by SEPA, just because of some of their actions. So this is going on. Their margins are tighter. They want to try and make sure they get a site up and running, particularly a wind farm up and running as quick as possible, so it's really important. We don't have the competencies, as I say, in-house, so we took a decision in June 2013. We put up a very big report. If anybody's seen it, it's on our council website. It's like our Bible, because everything that's in there just now is still valid. It's about how we take things forward. It was very important that we made sure we had the right skill set in place. We've got mines, so we have Douglas Associates, with mining engineers. Some authorities like Fife, for instance, use Douglas. Inside Farah, we're all our wind farms. We have the skill set to deal with all our LVIA's assessments and indeed verify that they're actually correct, because if for all those wind farm assessments you'll get, you might find that they're not actually factually right, because they won't tell you anything. And we've had major developers who will remain nameless, have actually had to re-advertise their information because it's been factually incorrect once it's been validated by our consultants. We have, for our PMOs, wind farms and interconnector, we use inside FARA, and for noise, particularly noise when it's dealing with wind farms, we've got semi-detached mining complexes, so two mining complexes right side by side, and we've the same for wind farms. It's not unique, some of the authorities will have that, but you'll understand that the headroom with noise can be very difficult when you've surrounding properties to wind farms, and it needs specialists to come in and give you assistance. So all that comes at a cost. As an authority, we got it wrong big style. The decisions taken by the Chief Executive, we will not be here in the same position again. So we've got full support for the Chief Executive. I was mentioning earlier, whenever a car crash happened, I was speaking to colleagues at one of Hope's meeting, and they were all kind of saying, you're going to ask the same questions with our Chief Executives. You may or may not be involved in those discussions, and you may or may not change your processes because of it, but we're certainly out there, and we will make sure we don't have the same type of incident that happened previously. We also have external consultants. I touched on the Loudon Castle. We've got a Loudon Castle, Grade A listed building. It's on an area where there's a design landscape, and guess what? We want to build right in the way through that. Again, we've worked with the archaeologists, and we've worked with SNH, we've worked with Historic Scotland, or Historic Language Scotland as they are now, but we still had the additional information to pull together, and that's why we've got a heritage consultant. In that building, big castle, what we're saying is it's enabling developer, you need to tell us what information is in the minimum criteria for refurbishing that castle. What's it cost to take up to get the structure up to wallhead level, to make that structurally safe, to take it up a roof net, and then to turn it into a four-star hotel as minimum. We're not telling you. So we're not telling you how many houses you can build. So that was a kind of general discussion there. So that application was effectively called in within the 4-month period by the Scottish Ministers. So from our point of view, we've got a team in place led by myself and obviously we've got James Finlay QC that will help us to go and fight that case. This doesn't come cheap, but what I will say is when we take decisions now, we will get them right. Stage 1, we talk about stage 1 and stage 2 process. Stage 1 compliance monitoring starts at pre-application stage. Many of the discussions we've had earlier today have been all valid, and all we would add to that is we would have the relevant consultant in that particular application discussion. So if we were dealing with an open cast mine or a quarry, we would have a consultant in there. Those consultants have went through, we've chosen them for their competence and went through our procurement process, and we can certainly share any information on that with you, but it was detailed. We've got the best. There's 2 companies out there in terms of regulation that assist most authorities, and that's Dalmatian and Ayrshire. They work for us, and I have to say it's the second to none. The consultants come in, when we get a planning application, there's a lot of work been done prior to that, and we will try, and it has worked with open cast coal mines, where we have a Section 69 agreement in place with the developer to pay us up to a maximum of £5,000 for doing the planning assessment and the pre-application advice. Now that's a lot of money, but that's it comes into us and we use that to pay for the consultants, and that means they get an earlier speed of development. So it works out really well for that. Once we get to the plan assessment, we get the obligations and the conditions. The compliance assessor are involved in that. They give us guidance. And maybe some of you who are dealing with these types of projects might be aware, you'll get information back from SEPA. And we've occasions where we've had to question the SEPA and other statutory agencies to say, is that really what you need? And that has a bearing in the actual final development. At Planning Committee, and Friday's a good example, with Planning Committee we had 3 restoration projects went through on Friday, and our consultant was there from Douglas Associate. We get asked questions, the planning the compliance monitor, he'll get asked questions as well. It's open, transparent, all the reports in the public domain, and everything's there for all the people who are making any representations. At stage 2, compliance monitoring stage, we'll get the conditions coming in, the Anside Fire, the Goose, whatever type of project it is, they'll give us guidance on that, and whether that information meets the terms of that condition. And when it's a non-technical issue, then we as a planning authority will take a decision on that ourselves. But just to be clear, somebody asked me a question before about are they making the decision? No, we as a planning authority make the decision, but we use them as an external consultant. And then ultimately, when we come to compliance monitoring, in your obligations, there'll be an obligation there to make sure that the PMO is paid for by the developer. The developer pays us money, we pay the PMO, and then you claim that back from the developer, and there'll be a threshold there. So if I go back to, just very quickly to give you an idea on that, there's a big green line up there, that's coiled and run right through to here, it runs right across, that's the pylons, and that runs right through in areas about 6-7 metres deep of peat. So there's a lot of peat management in there, there's all the private water supply issues. We've got a Section 69 legal agreement that says that we'll get a figure of up to £60,000 to the council for paying for the PMO for that one. So it means that ends up self-financing. Just to kind of highlight the conditions and obligations, these are the type of areas that we'll get special advice on: ecology, ornithology, hydrology, hydrogeology, geology, etc. All of these areas are very specialist, and we do get reports coming in from consultants, from the private sector, for the applicant, saying certain things that when there's a validation process goes on with our consultants, they say, no, that's not actually right, or there's other things that we as a planning authority should be considering. And it runs through, for all of these different areas, we have a number of assessments we put in place. I've put in there Roads Authority. We don't pay for Roads Authority, but it is something that we don't have them in-house as the council now, the Ayrshire Roads Alliance. They aren't the same building as us, but they're challenged, and one of the things that we do find is that we need to work very closely with them to make sure that we can get applications through the door. You'll see with that big plan I was showing you with the number of wind farms we've got, we've actually got a cumulative issue now with roads transport, delivering the rock to the sites, whether or not they don't have borrow pits on site, and all of that becomes cumulative, it becomes a difficulty for the roads network. So it is working with roads to deliver that. This is where we, as an authority, went wrong big style. I'm going to show you two different graphs here, just to give you an idea. I don't know if I've got a pointer. Where's my pointer?
It's in the middle.
Right. Basically, right, there we go. Right, so down that left column, that's your cost to deliver the works. Down the bottom is the years for the temporary consent. You'll have with an open cast coal operation, it will be a lot of work being carried out, digging the void, we'll get to a maximum void opening area, and in effect the cost for where we went wrong, our costs were up here rather than monitored and within the realms of that curve. So it's not rocket science. Bottom line is we allowed them to work unregulated as an council, and then when they went into liquidation, the restoration guarantee that was available for that site couldn't cover the liability. When I've touched on in one of the earlier slides, there's a liability there, 161 million. It was well broadcast. Ian was talking about all the thousands of people that were objecting. We certainly had that as well. We put in a room called the Coal Team. We were in there for a year, and that was just dealing with the inquiries from BBC, STV, all the papers, the Sundays, and making sure that our records were up to date. It took a lot of work, but we got there. But in a pressure situation like that, information is key. If you don't have that information, of which we didn't have a lot of the times, then we needed to find out where that information was located. It meant us going back and looking at all our records and putting those records on Opus, on the online system, so that we could reduce the amount of FOIs we got. But going back to this, you will have a process in there that's important as an obligation. You monitor that. So whether it's a multicast coal site or a slightly different process, your first two, normally about 2 years, it could be 18 months for a wind farm. That time period will depend on the construction period, but you go from point zero right up to a very high liability to the point when the wind farm's constructed. At that point, that's your liability at that point. We then review over that 25-year period. We'll review every 5 years the liability on that site, and we'll add on the inflation costs, so that an inflation cost is added, so that if at any time during that period, a company goes into liquidation, we will then be in a position to claim the bond, and the money that's in the bond will be able to restore the site. The restoration of the site, Whiteley is a typical example where a lot of the footpaths will be, and the network in there will be left. There are a lot of sites that it's a case that you have to grab up the tracks and restore those. So your costs will be variable depending on the end restoration project. And then obviously at the end of the project it will start to decline when they're decommissioning the work, and then you'll have your aftercare period. So it's just, these graphs have got a different one for quarries, a different one for landfill, and if you add in the landfill situation where they're doing more recycling, it's getting longer and longer. You're finding landfill companies will come in to get an extension to your sites just to accommodate that if you haven't already had them. So in terms of stage one process, we deal with the best practice across all our environmental projects. We review the landscape noise, quarrying and mining at the stage of the assessment, and we use consultants for that. We agree those conditions with SEPA, SNH and our consultants. And one of the fundamental things in it, I know that when an independent review came in, and there was a number of considerations given about your top level management. What do they do in terms of sign off, in terms of the financial liabilities for bonds, etc. Now a lot of authorities probably don't do this. We were criticised because we didn't do it. It might be that you still don't do it. However, we have a sign off with legal, finance and planning at the time when we put a report to planning committee to make sure all parties are signed up to that process. And there's a checklist. One of the other problems that we found when we went back to look at history, who took the decision at a particular time, and we couldn't pin the tail on the donkey because there wasn't a sign off. For every application that goes out now, whether it's a report of handling or a major development, there's a full sign off, and there can be at least 4 or 5 sign offs, depending on the case officer, team leader, myself, head of service. Then you can have legal and finance. Now that sounds cumbersome and it can be done electronically, but that's quite a detailed response in there. And as I said earlier, we've got a supported planning committee. These consultants don't come automatically. We'll ask them when we identify we need them. Stage 2 process, the PMO, the Planning Monitoring Officer, as I said before, is paid for by the developer through ourselves, will assist to discharge all the relevant environmental conditions. All the information we put on the online planning system. So if somebody puts in condition 4 and it's to do with ecology issue, that will be put on uniform and it'll be in there in the public domain so they can see it. So we will have that information that people can view. We do PMO compliance assessments will vary depending on the type of project. So monthly, if we're dealing with high risk areas, like when we're dealing with the area of the interconnector through the peak, there was a visit every month by our PMO. Opencast coal, where we are what we call, we have a number of mines that when they went into liquidation, House of Water is a good example, there isn't a liability there to cover the restoration. It's a £26 million liability, and then the bond that was in place was at £300,000. a lot of coal on the site still. Obviously coal price is down, but we had to come up with a formula to manage that or to reduce the risk. So what we do on that site is we make sure every time there's a tonne of coal comes out, there's about 10 tonnes of overburden goes into a hole to deal with the restoration. So there's a balancing act there. So we do that through monthly monitoring. Bi-monthly monitoring with some sites because of lesser risk, bi-monthly, and then for a quarry it's an annual. Quarries are obviously a slower process than cast coal or some other types of developments. At each meeting that we have on site, the mining plans or the restoration plans for development are all reviewed to make sure we're on progress. If there's any issue, then that will be raised. Hanside Farah, for instance, will use a traffic light system which will go back to Scottish Power Energy Networks to say there's a particular issue with a particular matter. It might be a potential issue or it might be a real issue, but that's highlighted, developers are made aware of it, and then they can put mitigation into place for that. We review financial guarantees on a 6-monthly basis, and then compliance monitoring reports are produced bi-monthly by the compliance monitor. So we'll have that. We've got a dedicated website that we now have in place where you can go in and review these reports. PMO attends all technical working groups with agencies. We're talking about working with different agencies. At a technical working group, take House of Water for instance, we'll have the River Myth, Fishery Board, we'll have SEPA, RSPB, SNH, Mining Engineer, and anybody else that we feel is relevant to that particular site are there. We take decisions about the progress of the site and then we move on. It's all recorded. Used to be the development set the obligations it was down to the developer to coordinate that. If you understand that one of the feelings for the developer was they decided not to have any, we didn't as a council regulate that and force them to make sure that they did have it. So we now run all of the resource to our service. We obviously community liaison committees for every cast coal site, quarry, etc. There is a community liaison committee. We manage that as well, make sure that they're healthy. Depending on the progress on site, they will be run possibly quarterly, maybe longer when it's a site that's coming up to a period where there's not as much risk to it, but we undertake that. Site revisions and delays managed through the planning process. A number of issues that we've identified when we've compliance monitor. People will come to us, even the Scottish Government, and say, well, how many enforcement issues did you take on your coal mining sites or your quarries? Well, actually, probably one or two, because with compliance monitor, you don't have an enforcement issue. You deal with them then. For instance, we had one site where the overburden was higher than it should have been, so we got a plan application in to resolve that. We felt it was, it wasn't as per the approved scheme, but it was within a tolerable range, so there wasn't a significant planning breach there, so we were able to do that quickly and efficiently. In terms of the rest of the issues, we put everything, hold everything in the back office system in iDocs, it's then published on the web. As I said before, dedicated web page. We do ensure that extensions are linked to previous restoration, and all applications under consideration are subject to committee site visit. It's like held in sheet at times, but we get them to the site. For instance, last week we had them at 3 different site visits to make sure that when they take a decision, they know what they're taking the decision on. Because the number of times that we've, again, we've made nameless names, but people say, I didn't know it was like this. Well, they stay in the community, they were ward councillors, they could see it. Even if a blind man could see it, some of these overburdens are significant. So it was very much it was everybody's fault bar certain individuals. So it is important that they take responsibility and they are there. The project management of environmental projects, I think what we're doing is we're making sure that we do for every project have a plan in place, that we know what they're doing, when they're doing it. When we get complaints, it used to, 3 years ago, we were inundated with complaints that said either for the media or for the locals. And we had some individuals, and we all have them, where they can write a full book on certain subject matters. We had one, there were at least about 4 actually, who were very knowledgeable on Casco, and it was a I told you so, and they were right. But we had to make sure that we now can demonstrate we can project manage these, so that and we don't get the same complaints now. Most of the jobs, we have an annual environmental audit, subject to consultation with the technical working group and community liaison group. With one site, and I'll show you later here, they didn't go into liquidation. They did what they said they would do. They would restore. Some of those technical working groups and community, sorry, some of those annual environmental reports had to get Stewart cleared off them. They'd never been opened, and that company repeatedly sent them in line with their obligations, but unfortunately they weren't processed. That's it. Completion sign-off. Again, if you're going to sign off a building, you have to take the responsibility to sign it off. We as a planning authority will discharge their legal obligations and will sign off a site at the end of the project. We've had three so far that we've done it with, but we also have support from our PMO to do that. And we also, one thing that we do is we do repeatedly for all the projects I've talked about, right at the very start of the slide, we put up a quarterly report that tells us how we're progressing with those and if there's any issues. Very quickly, Greenburn and Casco site. That's a site that basically this has been cold in here. The whole site started up there and worked westward towards this point. Hauling operations finished in there a year ago. This whole area was a large overburden, and we've consented this restoration scheme. It does have a water body in it, which is its lowest point is 30 metres. The way it operates is water body, it's got shallow sides to it, there's no sharp edges. You could go in there several metres before you actually starts to drop off. That's the part of what makes proposals for sites. Now that particular site is now under restoration. I'll just give you a quick idea. That's what it looks like if you've never seen it on the Casco site, and if you haven't seen it and want to see it, by all means come and ask. But because we've got a share of them to look at, but it's a very dirty process. If anybody's been on old Casco site, all that could be mudstone, it could be sandstone, etc. You're breaking all that up, you're moving it, you're putting it in an overburden, and then a later date has to be pushed in. Kia do things very efficiently, and then they don't double handle. Scottish Coal ATH did things very inefficiently, and maybe did it 3 or 4 times at handling material around the site. Unfortunately, in Scottish Coal and ATH sites, all the topsoil, subsoil, and any drift is all below overburden. So that gives us a deficit. So we've been working at ways how to get alternative restoration schemes in place that delivers that. That's just December, just December 2014. See that wee dot in there? That's a 100-ton lorry. Now, 100-ton lorry is about the length of this room, about the same height, and about here to that column. Very big bit of kit. It just gives you a size of the, gives you an idea of the nature of the site. That's them working away, they're working through, leave the water, the base, pump it out into the lagoons, and in here what they're doing is they're taking the coal and working away the coal seams. That's the original ground level. You can see the difference in levels. And that's the rock strata that you see, and again working through the coal seams to December 2014. So our compliance monitoring is making sure they are where they should be at the relevant points in time. And again, another one for April 2015. So moving on, that was just earlier this month. We've actually got the void formed, and this area is coming back. It's not finished yet, but they're well on course to deliver that restoration, and that's what another part of the site they've delivered. They've actually completed the restoration. That's just a shallow pond, an aquatics area for the habitat. So that's what you should be getting with your restoration and your compliance monitoring, validating that. However, if you don't, you can end up with a very big headache. Now, in summary, planning conditions, obligations, identical. You can have all these environmental mitigation measures in place, but you must ensure that they are delivered. Otherwise, will have potentially of an environmental disaster demands. The last thing to remember, base decisions and facts, assumptions, and that's all. If there's any questions in that.